Great. Esper control. Blue-white with some discard spells. One of the things I always like to point out in decks like this, people often ask why there's various 1s and 2s of different things in these decks, and the answer is that in control decks like this, where you have a lot of various answers you can select from, playing different answers that are slightly better in some situations and slightly worse in others is fine. So rather than thinking of this as a 2 of Thought Erasure, think of this as a 5th and 6th Agonizing Remorse. Instead of thinking this as 2 Mortify, 3 Oath of Kaya, it's really 5 3-mana removal spells, etc. Let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this. I think I'm gonna stake my ranked ladder on this one. Hopefully it treats us a little bit better than the green-red deck did. See if we can climb back up here. Anyone ever think we'll actually see those tax returns in a few weeks? I mean, we'll find out, right? We'll find out if he's actually just Trump with the D next to his name. Because Trump claimed he would release his tax returns too, and then never did. Box is the Grimoire command. Easy peasy. Wait, did we get the Gitrog to work? We did not. Wizards has still not fixed that bug. You know what Epic is? We don't, Heisem. In fact, their community manager reached out to me last night and asked me to postpone my next couple of sponsored streams till next week once they get their launch issue sorted. When am I going to release mine to you? As soon as I run for office. But he will mock Bloomberg for the same Trump he's doing. In fact, there were already articles point out they'll use the fact that Bloomberg is also a racist and a misogynist to downplay what Trump has done. They'll post constant stories like Trump not actually as racist as Bloomberg and stuff like that. What Trump said not actually as bad as what Bloomberg did, etc. Yeah, I might do some local government stuff at some point in my life after streaming stops being a full-time job, but I wouldn't be able to run on the things I believe on in house races where I live, just because I live in a very gerrymandered red district. So, I'm not Pete Buttigieg. I wouldn't morph what I claim to believe in to try and get elected, because that's just wrong. I think we just let this resolve. Want to hold the veto up for this. Yeah, I bought him the Dream Trawler because I expect them to have counterspells. I don't think we're resolving it anytime soon. And I don't really want to tap out for Dream Trawler and then have them, like, Nissa us. I won't spend 6 months arguing about why Bloomberg's less bad than Trump. If the Democratic Party nominates Michael Bloomberg for their presidential nomination, they deserve to lose and they will not have my support. And I don't think I'm alone in that feeling. I think they will fail to have the support of many people if they put that man in as their nomination. They deserve whatever they get. I'll show up and vote for Joe Biden. I'll show up and vote for Pete Buttigieg or Amy Klobuchar. I will not show up and vote for Michael Bloomberg. That's not okay. No, I don't think I'd play it again after today, Wargy. It just felt really terrible. I don't think it's doing anything meaningfully better than Mono Red.
This might be a bad idea.
Mayor Pete, the best candidate an algorithm can produce. It's funny because it's true. Am I supposed to... How do we feel about Thassa's intervention here? I believe we're playing against Team Iraq. I think we just draw some cards here. What exactly is so bad about Bloomberg? Well, you know how Trump's a racist and a sexist? So is Bloomberg. Almost everything you can say about Trump, you can also apply to Bloomberg. He's Trump, only he's actually a savvy businessman. He's Trump, but he won't be dumb enough to say the quiet parts out loud.
I train every day. No one meditate and prepare.
Right, who doesn't love a good draw step Thought Erasure, really? Who doesn't love a good draw step Thought Erasure? Alright, Dispute sounds great here. Aether Gust sounds great here. Narset's great. Despark's great. Do I board in Kuranos to stop their... I think I board this in to stop their Uros, just because, like, it's also fine for attacking them. Othakai is pretty bad here. Black-White Enchantments. No, Black-White Enchantments was great. It was an aggressive deck. I think we went 3-1 or 4-1 with it. It was a good set. It's worth watching if you thought the deck looked interesting. Kaya exiles Uro. Maybe I don't want Kuranos. I have 62 cards here now. Need 2 more cuts. Two more cuts. Ashiok's kind of slow. Can I cut this? Is just 2 Dream Trawlers enough win conditions? I feel like it might not be. I guess this is kind of a win condition. Let's give this a try. So, part of the reason why Kuranos hasn't really... One of the reasons why Kuranos hasn't really show up, I think, is because the Cat Oven decks fell out of appeal. And that was, like, gonna be a hate card for those. Castle, eh? Alright, I think with Castle drawn, I'm gonna lead on... Actually, I'm gonna lead on this. Because then I can go untapped on 2, hold up these, which is great. Yeah, obviously there's still some people playing Cat Oven, but it's not like omnipresent like it was before Theros dropped. It's one of those decks where, like, when it shows up, you're like, oh, right, people still play that. Not like, oh, yeah, it's Cat Oven, everybody plays that. In for a threat. Got 2 pieces of disruption here. This is kind of a piece of disruption. Huh? That's annoying because it pressures my planeswalkers. Am I just sacking this Omen of the Sea? I feel like I am. I need to find an answer to this, right? I have 2 Mortifies in my deck that can kill this at the moment. I'm gonna crack this and play this Narset out. Can still hold up Veto / Gust. Yeah, Conqueror's Death kills it. It's just tapping out for Conqueror's Death here doesn't sound particularly appealing. I mean, I knew they had Brazen Borrower, Grant. This is a card they always play. I don't think Oath of Kai is a card that I really want in this matchup. Hey, thanks for the 3rd of a year, Freezy Pop. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. That's a good draw. That's what we're talking about. I'm gonna Aether Gust this, I think. And then we're gonna Teferi bounce this Borrower.
Sorry I'm late. Here we
I'll leave that there. See if they have a Bone Crusher Giant here or something that lets them kill Teferi. They could have another Expansion Explosion, since they bottomed that other one. What, Wilderness Reclamation? Nissa. That makes a lot of sense.
I will aid you. The land shall conquer you.
Oh. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, that's a bold strategy. So, I can't just play Dream Trawler, because they'll use Brazen Borrower to tap it, and then I die. Maybe I'm supposed to shock to hold up Veto here. What's the difference between being at 1 and being at 3? Not much, right? Stomp. Okay. That's a good call. Ooh, Lethal Explosion is a difference. We're dead, right? We're just dead to this Brazen Borrower. Oh, wait, I have a Veto? No, I don't have mana. Yeah, I'm a mana short. I only have 7. I need 8. Really close game. Maybe I was supposed to keep the Trawler I saw earlier this game and just Windmill Slam it. That's tough. I'm happy with how I boarded. I guess Kaya's not particularly good. Maybe I do want one cheaper spell for Brazen Borrower. Hey, Hobart, thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. No second blue here. Probably makes this a mulligan. We'll see what we scry into. Some of these decks have Legion War Boss postboard too, so it's probably fine to leave in. Howdy, Ted. Morning. I like traditional control decks. I think this card is one of the more least interesting cards to play with in Magic in general. I think this card removes a lot of the nuance and interesting parts of control decks. They shocked it as a pure bluff there. Fair. This is really good. I like this deck better when they didn't play good cards. Sweet. Sweet. Good beats. Good beats.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
What's going on, Mikey? I think I just do this and bounce their Temple of Mystery. I'm like, if they counterspell this, it's not a big deal, because like I get it back next turn.
I am not going to sit this one out.
Bottoms up.
Let's try this.
Perfect. Yeah, our series of pickups there were real good. For sure. Alright, slow ride. Take it easy. Do 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 do. Be do. Do. Sure. Yeah, we played Gruul aggro to start the day, and it was just a total dumpster fire. I think we went like 1 and 3. Well, they already know we're playing Esper, so no point in conceding. How much longer are we gonna play Esper for? I don't know, another hour, maybe hour and a half. Depends on how good it goes. If we had a good run, I'm gonna try and coast up the ladder with it. Magic. We have to laugh, chat. You have to laugh because the alternative is crying. The alternative to laughter is crying, and that one's just not good. So don't do it. What do we think of this 75, this 60? Oh, need to cut one. What do we think of this 60? Maybe Thought Erasure shouldn't be there. The dog has lifelink. People wondering why I'm boarding this in, it has lifelink. I think 3/3 Vigilance Lifelink Menace is a good stat line. Just pretend it doesn't have other text. I boarded in because of that. Now, the second intervention over the Conqueror's Death. Now, I think Conqueror's Death's important. I think I'd rather trim Thought Erasure if I want to trim that. I have a couple of vetoes here, too. I don't want too many reactive cards. I mostly want cards that play to the board. Yeah, some of these decks play Phoenix is accurate. In for that, I think. I don't think I have time to screw around with Omen of the Sea here. I think I just hope to hit land drops with Teferi. Also, good chance they just take my top card anyways, he says before he gets robbed. Alright, so we need to kill this with Othakaya because they took a Thought Erasure, and I'd prefer to keep my thoughts. I wouldn't be surprised if this matchup is bad. We take a lot of damage from our mana, which is generally not a hallmark of a deck that's going to be good against the red aggro deck. Alright, so let's draw land this turn. Get 2 shots of land for next turn. Okay. Torbrand 6 me. So they're annex, sure. Oh, wow. Opponent's just, like, not respecting Shatter at all here. Back up to 15. Okay, so it looks like we're going to win the easy game. For reference, the easy game is the one where you get to be on the play against the aggro deck. I think they almost assuredly should have replayed this to play around Shatter. The downside is pretty low, and the upside's really high. Yep. Alright, well, they get to play Thought Erasure and Teferi this turn, so, you know, good luck us, Godspeed. They're robbing us blind, chat. They're robbing us blind. CA alone is the world's 6th largest economy. Yep. Unsurprising to see them take our card that could actually impact the board here. I assume they're just going to cantrip. Really? They plussed that? That's interesting. I think I just draw 2 here. This is not the Stone Cold Bratwurst. So Kaya here only gains 2 life regardless of how many creatures she exiles. So ideally want to prioritize leaving extra creatures in their bin so I can get the most total life gain triggers out of Kaya. Next turn, Elspeth Conquers Death is going to return Teferi to play. And then Teferi will bounce Oath of Kaya, and that Oath of Kaya will kill Robber of the Rich. Opponent doing us a solid here and taking lands off the top of our deck. I actually don't think that's irritating at all, Bilbo. I think every state having equal representation in the Senate makes a lot of sense. I think the House should probably have continued to scale in size as our country scaled up. And I think the Electoral College is nonsense. The issue with the Electoral College is that small states have disproportionate representation in 2 different places. Nah, I don't think I want the 4/4 here, especially with their Time Raveler in play. I think I'd rather draw a card and kill their stuff. I think I want to kill this with Oath because they'll be able to bounce this with their Teferi. And if they're bouncing a card that doesn't gain haste, it's not too big of a deal. You could scale the house based on some type of logarithmic equation as opposed to a direct linear scale. I think is what would make the most sense. So you don't want it to grow endlessly at the same amount, because obviously there needs to be some kind of limit. But like as the population grows, it should definitely shock to hold up Veto. We're currently playing Hearthstone, chat. I know that the game category says Magic the Gathering, but that's a lie.
I have a plan.
There are several countries with more representatives in their Congress equivalent than the US. That's interesting. All right, garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. Do 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 do. Mono Red has Teferi out. They do. They do in fact have Teferi out. I mean, scaling it based on a logarithmic equation so it doesn't grow about endlessly, just like, is really clean and easy. The problem is you have to explain that to a bunch of Congress people who probably don't understand what a logarithm is, so it's probably not practical from the position of people are stupid on average. I should probably Thought Erasure pre-combat to surveil my draw. In other democracies, legislators follows the cube root of the population as a general trend. Sure, that's fine too. Just some non-linear way to scale it up.
You bet. I had guild business to attend to anyway.
You can't have proportional representation, Scap. If you have proportional representation, it makes it harder for people like Michael Bloomberg to purchase elections. Come on now. We can't have that. You want to give power to poor people? And if you think my dripping sarcasm there is obnoxious, you should vote for Bernie Sanders, because we should give power to poor people. Everybody should be represented equally. Not have to fight and scrap and scrape for basic human rights. Yeah, I agree, Terror. When Warren, I thought for sure, I knew Bernie was gonna say it. I thought Warren might be the other one. You just make a joke about Bloomberg. I thought his comedy roast was yesterday evening. Yeah, Warren's pivots as the campaigns have progressed have made me more happy that Sanders is looking to be the eventual progressive nomination. I feel like there's a good chance if Warren was the nominee, she would move more center in her policies during the general election, as politicians are often wont to do. Poor people should wait for the money to trickle down. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't think it's fair to say that she's a Republican. I think that's misrepresenting. I think you could probably frame many of the centrists as being conservatives. Warren, I don't know. It's hard to tell who this is a game for. Sure, but so Warren's backstory is what you should want from people. Warren is someone who had a frame of reference, and then when she went out into the world and did research and realized that reality disagreed with her frame of reference, she changed what she believed in based on reality and facts. That's what you should want from people. You should want people who, when they look and see that their narrative doesn't really work, they go, oh, and they try and search out why. And when they see the whys, they change their frame of reference based on the new information they've gained. I think Warren's campaign has been very poorly run, and I haven't liked some of the stances she's taken in the debates and the way she's attacked and pivoted. But calling her a Republican is disingenuous. Maybe I'm just supposed to Aether Gust here. Oh, that hand is good. Okay, I think I'm supposed to take Annex because Annex makes my Shatter bad. Oath sounds fine. Maybe I'm just supposed to Teferi cantrip just for the sake of drawing a card here. Just for reference, Willis, we don't really do that here. When someone calls you out on something you said not being okay, whoa, calm down, I was just joking, that's really a pretty poor stance to take. You don't get to claim it's a joke after someone calls you out on your BS. It's very clearly not a joke at that point. Tibalt shutting off her Oathakaya here is really rough. I don't have a good way to take their Planeswalker off the table. Am I supposed to Shatter and go to 5 here? I feel like I am. Yeah, Oath still kills something, it just doesn't stabilize my life total. Dead to a stiff breeze. Sitting here with Mortify's in hand while we get hosed by a Planeswalker we can't take off the table is pretty peak Esper control.
I'm known for my excellent I know. I am not making this up as I go.
Am I dead? I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet.
Oh, I've done the hero thing.
So, do I exile this and then oath the Steamkin? Or do I just kill these two things? I mean, like, do I care about the Tibalt? Like, I'm still, like, getting the 3 life gain here doesn't change anything, right? Why is decreeing the Tibalt correct? Yeah, I end up at 1 either way. I feel like I'm just supposed to pass. I mean, we need a blank out of them either way. Yeah, killing the Tibalt is wrong, because it would mean we die to Torbrand or Embercleave. That was a rough set. Do they not have 6 mana? I thought they had 6 lands. Or maybe they only had 5 lands. They had a castle in play overly, so I'd still be at 1. Yeah, I don't think Cerulean Drake's very good in a post, Alright, here we go again. You know, we should really work on drawing. We should really work on winning the die roll. Now, for those of you taking notes at home that want to, like, be better against mono red, I would heavily recommend winning the die roll. It's a strong play. Dear Wizards of the Coast, if you care about your game, work on balancing the incredible play draw discrepancy that it has. Signed, everyone. You're not wrong. Having basics is pretty good. Don't draw a spell. I guess it doesn't matter if they draw a spell, because I'm going to Oathakaya this. So I'm down to 12. I'm going up to 15, but I'm taking 5 on board. If they draw a land, I'm taking 8. Feels dead, man. So we're still taking 5 on this attack, right? And the Seams matchup seems really hopeless, which I don't think this deck's very playable if we can't win this matchup. Feels bad, man. I sit at home and roll dice 4 hours a day as training. So far, it doesn't seem to improve by chance. Well, you just gotta practice harder. Have you considered pulling yourself up by your dice straps a little bit? I don't know. I feel like if you felt like you needed to put Cerulean Drake in the sideboard, I'd rather just play blue-white. I think blue-white tends to have a pretty okay matchup here. The reason you play Shatter over Kaya, yeah, I have these right here. Three lands that don't cast it, and sometimes you need to fetch one of them. Yeah, blue-white gets to play 4 Birth, though, and playing 4 Birth's pretty huge in this matchup. I feel like. How much longer are we going to be on this? I don't know. Depends on how this matchup goes. I don't think Cry's very good in this matchup. It's like okay against a small subset of their draws, but like when Annex and Torbrand show up, it's pretty bad for you. Yeah, Birth alone goes a long way in this matchup for blue-white. Card's very reasonable. Is that a Mortify? That's gross. Well, I mean, I guess I get to try and scry into a land for them to draw. Bottoming the Oath because they're going to draw it with Robber of the Rich next turn. For people wondering why we're bottoming that there against their deck. And hey, look, they got another land. Not only that comment's peak Twitch chat. Miscounted the number of lands that I had in play, and then also asked me if I had a land that's not legal in Standard. oh, Twitch chat. Never change. Never change, Twitch chat. Or do. Maybe do. Maybe do. I don't know. You do you. Who am I? Who am I to tell you how to live your life? I'm just a man on the internet talking at my webcam. I don't know, maybe we're just a little unlucky and this matchup isn't actually that bad. The games we've been on the play have felt okay. Yeah, like this. This is great, huh? You tried drawing all 5 pieces of Exodia every day. That's what I train for. Good night, Felicia. Are we done here? Alright. Yeah, the buddy lands, the check lands, whatever you want to call them, those are only legal in Historic. Standard right now is Ashioks and Temples. Time to die on the draw. Time to die. Just throw some Black Lotus in there for good measure. Exactly. See, you get it. This archetype, you know what? I would be all over Esper if I could play some Shambling Vent. Could def use some Shambling Vents. I would play the crap out of Shambling Vent shit. Alright, who wants to YOLO it? Do you believe, chat? I believe. I believe. I believe. I believe. In the top of my deck. Opponent mulligan to 5. Are we doing it? Is this what doing it feels like? I think this might be what doing it feels like. Never not Robber of the Rich onto you. Joke's on you. I didn't want that Thought Erasure anyways. Your hand's almost empty. Bottoms up. Hey, Puppers is a good one. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I think I'm gonna plus Teferi here because I would like to downtick Teferi, bounce Puppers before we Shatter the Sky, I think is the plan here. Bye, friends.
I'll protect you.
Nice, nice Phoenix you have over there. Sure would be a shame if something were to happen to it. Again, electing only to exile 1 card because I only gain 2 life regardless. I want to leave more creatures in there to give myself the opportunity to gain more life. Alright, so this is 1000% an Embercleave, and by that I mean they're playing Hearthstone, so get riggedy wrecked. That is 1000% I'm playing Hearthstone and didn't realize that I have an Embercleave attack. Are we doing it, chat? Did we beat Mono Red on the draw? Did it just take them mulliganing to 5? I think all it took was them mulliganing to 5. Wee. Do 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 but do 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 do. All right, Esper, I believe. Come on, let's win. Let's win 1 or 2 more here, Esper. I need you to undo what Gruul did to us, Esper. Doggo is very good there, to be fair. Oh, golly, we won the die roll. So that means they're guaranteed not mono red because we don't win the die roll against mono red. I'm pretty sure is how this works. Whoa! Is Arena broken, chat? Have we entered a parallel universe? Woo! Woo! Alright, this is good. I was concerned. I was very concerned there was a glitch in the Matrix.
I know my responsibility. This might be a bad idea.
What a tease. Goodbye, friends. Sorry I killed your creatures. Have a card. Hey, Cyrix. Thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Of course you can get a timeout. Let me aim to please round here. X in their girl deck. Hey, Sardonyx, thanks for the half of your support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So a little thing that I do here that I don't talk about all the time, but I think it's worth mentioning here. You'll notice I had a Scryland here, and I had a draw, and I almost always elect to scry after I draw. And the reason for this small distinction here is because when I scry, because I'm not going to be able to cast the card I'm drawing off of Teferi, it's better to scry with extra knowledge of the card that's in my hand. Because either way, since I'm not going to be able to play the card I'm drawing that turn, I'm either getting a random card now off of Teferi or getting a random card off my draw step next turn. So because I'm getting a random card at some point either way, I think it's always correct to draw first, so that way I get to make my decision with my scry with slightly more information. Check, sir. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It's one of those things that, like, often just isn't going to matter, but in the edge cases where it does, it can make a difference. Really unfortunate that they have a window to stick Cleave here when I'm holding double Veto in my hand. This is just gonna get to beat us up because it sits in play. I guess I have Teferi coming back in 2 turns, which is nice. Chobo Rowboat, thank you for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. That's so unfortunate. Dead to a stiff breeze. It has the even one. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Welcome back. One is not 0. Yep, we're not dead yet. So I get to get this. I get to get a loyalty. Yeah, I get to bounce the cleave. I get to kill their Spellbreaker. The problem is I'm just dead to a haste creature. I'm 1 mana short of being able to play this and hold up. I think I just Narset here. Since I'm dead to a haste creature anyways, I Narset and look for Oathakaya.
Those who cannot perceive will hone your prowess.
So haste creature kills me regardless. So do I take Kaya to eventually gain life? Or do I just take another Mortify? Mortify's better against a non-haste creature. I should take Agonizing Remorse, yeah, exactly. Either of these could be the answer. I think there's merits for both. Dead to a stiff breeze. Yeah, I think Mortify's marginally better, but we're dead to most of the same things regardless of which we take there. If we get to untap after this turn with the Dream Trawler, we're going to be in an incredibly good spot. Tank, play lethal card. Yep, feels Magic Arena, man. So, good time to cut our vetoes. We're going to board very similarly to how we boarded against Mono Red, only with a Noxious Grasp in. Veto comes out here, though. I think Narset comes out here. I think the discard spells are probably bad. At least the ones that drain my life are bad. Atris is probably whatever. What do we think of this board plan? I don't think Hound is good here. I was bringing in Hound against Mono Red, but I feel like the stat line on this card is less good against the slightly bigger Grill deck, so I'm less inclined to bring it in here. I think Teferi's good just because it makes Cleave slightly awkward, and he almost always draws a card. Yeah, a Gruul deck without the adventure plan could be very reasonable. Why do you think main deck dog fixes the aggro matchup? Like, you're often not gonna have it, and your mana's still gonna beat you up. You lose more games to aggro just because you're keeping hands that often aren't good against aggro game one, and then you get run over. Yeah, I think Hound's definitely worth it in our 75. I don't think I like bringing it in here, though. Huh, 2/2 drops, eh? Do I just take... Do I take Spellbreaker? I think I take Spellbreaker, huh? Because they don't have the second red for Annex yet. I have Banishing Light and Conqueror's Death to exile their Clothis, chat. Yeah, I'd be willing to take another crack at that one for sure, Wargy. It felt very reasonable yesterday. Ashiok's not a bad pickup. If we hit running untapped lands here, one of which is blue, we'll likely be in a very good spot. Now we can't afford to miss. Need untapped land or shatter. Probably dead. Yeah, we talked about it a few times, Zombie. I think I have to bottom both of these and hope to draw a sweeper at this point. Could also bottom them both and draw that. Swish. I don't know if that's enough to save us, but it's definitely better than keeping either of those cards. I don't know that that's saving. Yeah, mono haste threat seems good against these control decks, right? For sure. Am I dead yet? Survey says. That's busted. This card seems real sweet with Legion War Boss. Yeah, Hasty Girl seems sweet. You could still play what's it called in there? You could still play Ironin games if you really wanted. Wait, did they just choose not to draw? So their last card is just like super busted. Feels Esper, man. Feels Esper, man. All right, Esper, you get one more shot, Esper Control. So what's the feeling with all the control decks you've been trying? I think I'd put Sultai at number 2 based on the games I've been playing. I feel like it's probably worse than blue-white, but I think I like it better than this build. Maybe with enough refining, Sultai could be comparable to blue-white. Like, I don't think that I don't think that anybody's really worked on that archetype a whole ton. Generally speaking, Saban, I try to always stream for a certain amount of time at a given point. So we had a couple of decks today that went really quickly, so I had time to fit another one in. I always prepare one more deck than I have, generally speaking, time for in a stream. Just because sometimes decks go quick. It's always better to under-promise. And then, because nobody usually complains about getting an extra deck, but people are rightfully a little annoyed if, like, I put a deck in the stream title and we don't get to it. Hey, sounds good, war game.
Here we go.
Yeah, it wasn't originally on the list. But we had a couple of decks that went extra quick. So Magic Online's an incredibly slow application, so I always block out almost 2 hours to play a Pioneer deck in the morning when we do Magic Online, but a number of the Pioneer decks have just been such dumpster fires with how the format's developed recently that it just hasn't, they've gone quick. Pioneer's been like an hour the last 2 mornings. So, like, they deny me a card draw here, but they don't, they lose their priest, which is great. Yeah, it's really been a hot second if you haven't seen the channel points. Those have been up since October. Opponent wisely choosing not to bring their cat back, because if they brought it back, I'd mortify it at end of turn, and then they'd lose their cat to cycle around. Something that's a little awkward here is I have to shock this in if I want to play Ashiok, which kind of sucks. Going to 8's a little worrisome. Hopefully we can find an Othakaya or a Dream Trawler here to buffer our life total back up before we get burned out. The possibility of Mayhem Devil maybe makes us too aggressive. I think we start here and see where we go. Ha! We can agonizing the cat in response. That's definitely true, huh? That's funny. That's a good line. I appreciate the competitive Twitch chat advantage. Thank you. Ali Oxenfree. Well, that's a misclick. Is mortifying the oven a line worth exploring? I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to explore that line by reading Mortify. You let me know how that works out for you. I'm gonna attack with these to start. Wow, that's a lot of Ox. No, it's just the one still. All right. Do I want to play Ox here is a question. I feel like I might. It really is, son. I think I want these so I can start using the Witch's Oven to buffer my life total. I think I want to Mortify the Woe Strider here, and then I'm going to put the Ox into play and cycle the rest of my hand out here. I mean, you can bump 2 different decks by 10 points. So I want to cast this, cast this, cast this, because I want the Ox to resolve first, ditch these, then I want the Rixmatty to come into play to filter the Godless Shrine. Okay. That was sequencing I'm happy with, I think. And I'm going to go ahead and eat Rixmatty Raveler here in response, I think, just so I have a food ready to go. I don't think I want to tap off of Mortify, because should they rip Mayhem Devil, that wouldn't be ideal for me. It's the first time you've seen the Ox animation. You should check out the Red-Green Fires deck we played before. I think there's some Ox in the Teamer Fire deck coming up too. Or maybe not. Maybe it was just Uro. We played a Red-Green Fire deck with Ox that was super reasonable. That's really unfortunate. Super punished for having used my oven here. Hey, they milled 2 lands off the top of my deck. Thanks, opponent. I mean, Ox is a super powerful effect, so yeah. This thing is high for a reason. I have 4 cards in there, 2 of which are these cats. They're gonna eat. Really? They're not just bringing a cat back. That's interesting. That surprises me a little bit. I believe Oxy's playing Modern Dredge, but I also, like, haven't really touched Modern since Eldraine release, so I don't know for sure. I'm just, like, looking for Dream Trawler at this point. What are the odds I die from 6? Non-zero? I'm gonna pass. Let's just pass for now. Hey, Xenos, thanks for the entire year of support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Fluffernutter. Hey, thanks for the third of a year. Remember, if you're diving back into Standard, you're interested in catching up a little bit, my website always has the Standard deck page on it, and the Standard format actually has a ton of really sweet things, and I think there's over a dozen decks up there right now, all of which I think are fairly reasonable. This was a mistake. I should have mortified this at end of turn when the oven was tapped. That's definitely something I should have done. Don't Mayhem Devil me, bro. They did top a card with their scry last turn. It's like Mayhem Devil could be a real thing that happens here. Mono red. There's not mono red up on my website. I recommend just checking out the Worlds deck list if you're looking for something dry like mono red. Okay. Hoglandia deck lists are sweet. Okay. We don't do mono red. Yeah, I agree. I agree that, like, using strict tier numbers is kind of whatever, but I think that people often ask me what I think is the hallmark of a good format. And in my opinion, the hallmark of a good format is the power level difference between the decks at the top and the decks under them tends to be small. And the standard format definitely feels like one of those formats. The difference between the best decks and the next best decks is pretty close. Yeah, but that was historic. Everything in historic is hipster because nobody plays historic. Come on now. I think Enter the God Eternals is a good card in Esper. I don't think so. I think in a world where the mono red decks were killing you by inches instead of miles, Enter the God Eternals is fine, but I don't think that's the world we're living in anymore. Nice, Saban. Yeah, deck's been a lot of fun. Alright, got game one at least. Arena gonna be Arena. Devout Decree sounds good. Shatter sounds good. Banishing Light takes the artifacts away. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. Do 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 do. I think I just want to trim the Thought Erasures and a couple of these more reactive cards. I got more cards that interact with the board. How do you feel about Narset in this matchup? She seems fine. She stops Ox, and they also had Midnight Reaper. What are my last two trims here? Is it crazy to just trim a couple of Teferis? Let's try this. Well, I guess Veto's not very good. Let's cut Veto. Leave Teferi and discard spell in. I play Historic Jeff. There's like 8 people in the queue at all times. Fair. Is Aether Gust? Do they have enough red cards to bring in Aether Gust? Probably not. What if I like Mise it? I'm gonna Mise the Aether Gust. They almost certainly have Mayhem Devil, right? They maybe have Chandra. They definitely have Ox. I hope Historic picks up. We're due for a dump of Historic cards soon, right? It should be like 2 weeks or less. Start of March or so. Yeah, I don't think they gave us an exact date, right? They just said early March. Yeah, I mean, Theros has been out for a while. It's just Theros Standard doesn't suck, so it doesn't feel like we've been playing it for an eternity. It's just last Standard season felt like an eternity because, like, it was awful. Just get Priest out of here. Have a lot of respect for that card. We've messed up a lot of people with that card over the years. Let's just take it out of play. Historic Anthology 2, Walkie Ballista and Inverter. Please, for the love of God, no. There's people at Wizards right now just like, Hogland says he likes Historic. What combos can we print into this format? You can't leave Hogland a format where mid-range decks are fine. That's just not okay. Yeah, that's a good draw. Bye, friend. Let's try one more. Every time I say let's try one more, we like cue into the control mirror and it takes me an hour and a half. But try and get lucky one more time. Want a die roll, so it's probably a control mirror because we won the die roll. Whoa! Okay, so we can win the die roll against aggro, but we mulligan. Fair. Fair. Yes, there should theoretically be an announcement about the suspended historic card soon. I'm actually really excited to see what they do with the suspended cards, and by really excited I mean I'm preparing myself for gripping disappointment. In my opinion, it would be an immense failure on Wizards of the Coast part if they ban every card they suspended. If they ban every card that they suspended in Historic, in my opinion, it shows that they're using the suspend list in bad faith as a way to just take cards away from people and not give them wild cards for a long time. So, if the suspended list is being used as a proper game design tool and not just one to deny people wild cards for months at a time, something will be unsuspended. Now, the cynic in me thinks that there's a chance they just ban everything and just it's gonna be a tool to give you wild cards months later. But I'm hoping against hope that that's not the case. Othakaya, Thassa's intervention, Atris to draw some cards here. We might have a real shot. Might have a real shot. Never not taking two. All right, fine. Bone Crusher is ready, chat. Yeah, yes, exactly. I think Dream Trawler's like the one card I would take a single copy of there that was face up. If you already got wild cards for standard bandings, you won't get wild cards. Is that, do you have a source on that? Do you have a source on that? I would love to see a source on that. Please, please, and thank you. I think it's worth losing one here, and then we'll play this. Do you know what's super exciting about winning game 1 against Mono Red, chat? Winning game 1 against Mono Red means that I get to play game 3 on the play. So very, very likely to lose this next game, but it does mean I get to be on the play for game 3, which is exciting. I think this is how I've been sideboarding. I think I like this plan. You won't receive multiple reimbursements for the same individual card. Okay. Okay. Things like that always... I feel like you won't receive multiple reimbursements for the same card. In my opinion, I feel like that's one of those things where Wizards of the Coast really misses the bar. It's one of those things where the people making the decisions don't understand you could make more money by creating good faith by being a little bit generous. I feel like they could, if they just give a little bit more in instances like that, they would have happier players who in turn would be more likely to stick around and spend more money in the long term. They're so stingy with, yeah, that's actually something Raid's really good at. They had a bunch of server issues after their last patch, but they like gave people enough free stuff that was just like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. All right, so I think at this point I oath the Steamkin so they don't just have infinite mana next turn, and then we shatter the following turn. I am taking a risk of them drawing a spell they can cast with this, but I think that's a worthwhile risk. That is an Elspeth Conquers Death, yep. So I guess we shatter and give them 2 tokens. And then they play more creatures, and then we shatter again next turn. We're just like waiting on a threat now at this point. We're going to 12, and I have 2 removal spells left over. 3 removal spells left over. That's kind of unfortunate. Their 2/2 drew them a 3/3. So I have to answer that. Now, if they continue to run hot, we could be in trouble. Getting punished for the way I sequence my removal spells. They don't have a light up the stage here, at least. A Planeswalker is one of their best possible draws here. We really like to draw. Well, that was, you know, one good draw deserves another. We're looking for threats at this point. Ashiok would be great. I think Teferi's fine. Teferi rebuys Oath of Kaya, which is wonderful. If there's an untapped black source under, or an untapped land under Teferi, we're super happy.
Not this one out. Let's try this.
We were dead to cleave there the way I spent my removal spells, is worth noting. So we're going to 4. No, it's fine. It's fine. We didn't die to cleave. We're going back up to 7. I have Ashiok, I have Dream Trawler now, like, we're in a fine spot. Even without a land for this next turn, Ashiok stabilizes the board pretty quickly. Oh, I had Despark against Cleave. Yeah, good call. Good call. Forgot about that. I had those up. We weren't dead to Cleave. What is this alternate reality I've entered? This is a strange and interesting place. Excuse me? Alright, well, this game's over. GG! I mean, I guess if they don't kill that, it's gonna bounce the Oath of Kaya eventually, but like gaining 2 life without spending resources here is real busted. The Oath of Kaya flavor text is so stupid. Yes, the amount of incidental life this card gains is so absurd. Alright, I mean, we ended up 2-1 against red aggro. Doggo was really impressive against red aggro. Felt super reasonable. I don't know that I have anything. That's a lie. Cut this card. This card was silly. It was like okay in the first game against red. I think we would have won anyways. Was not super impressed with this. I would just like get the last Shatter in here, or maybe play another Conqueror's Death or another Dream Trawler. Playing less than 3 Dream Trawlers is like probably sacrilege. This card's real good. You basically always want to draw it against red in the late game and against the control matchup. So I think I'd play another Trawler. Would be my takeaway. Seems fine. All right, we're gonna do one more standard deck today. I'm gonna hit a quick ad roll while I get everything set up and flipped over. And when we return, we're gonna floop some pigs, chat. We've got some oxen here. We've got some fires of intervention. We got some questing beasts. So back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. Burn, baby, burn. Team of fires, burn, baby, burn. Do 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 do. I think there should almost assuredly be four Cavalier Thorns in here, though. That card's real good. I'm looking for a deck to leverage my horrible Clothis wildcard decisions. We played a straight green-red build of this too that felt pretty okay last time too. These people are wonderful. Buy their stuff. You know what's going on, Bim? Yeah, sometimes variance beats you down. It's okay. Everything's gonna be alright. Do 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 do.